Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here, back with another New World video. Today, we're going to go through character progression in New World and everything you need to know about that. There is a lot here, so let's hop right in. In New World, there are three main areas in which your character will progress. You gain experience towards your overall character level and will level up once you gain enough XP. Upon leveling, you will be awarded attribute points that can be used to increase one of the 5 attributes in the game. You will also gain experience for each weapon type you use in the game, and upon receiving enough experience for a particular weapon, you will be awarded with a weapon mastery point to be spent in either of the active or passive abilities within the weapon skill tree. The final main way you can progress your character in New World will come in the form of trade skills. Trade skills consist of gathering, refining, and crafting. So, Bordy, why don't you tell us about the first category, which are your core attributes?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So as your character levels, you're going to gain attribute points per level up to a total of 190 upon reaching the max character level of 60. So you can also gain additional attribute points from your gear to push you over that 190 that you gain from simply leveling. So upon visiting a tournament for the first time, your character will have 5 points in each of the core attributes, and you're not going to drop below that 5-point minimum threshold. You're just going to be given 5 points in each attribute whenever you spawn in. So the points you earn while leveling your character can then be spent to level up your attributes, and those core attributes ultimately are going to guide your overall character build. So how you spend those attribute points as you level is going to be very important to your success in New World. So New World does not have a class-based system, so you're going to have to make sure you tie your attribute points into the weapons you are wanting to use. It's very important. So strength is going to increase the amount of damage you do with melee weapons, and some melee weapons scale exclusively from strength, and other lighter weapons scale primarily from strength and then a little bit from dexterity. Dexterity is also the attribute that scales your damage with ranged weapons like the bow and the musket. And intelligence is the attribute point, or the attribute that you're going to want to spec into if you're looking to gain damage from your magical weapons like the fire staff and the ice gauntlet. So the life staff does not fall under that category. It is a healing weapon. So if you're planning on maining a healer, you're going to be wanting to spoke into focus as your primary attribute. So the last attribute is constitution, and it's pretty straightforward. You put points into constitution and you're going to increase your overall health pool. So each attribute also has attribute threshold bonuses. Now, these threshold bonuses, they give you a persistent bonus to players for maintaining certain point values in each attribute. And the bonuses are awarded every 50 points invested in a single attribute. And each threshold has a combat bonus as well as a non-combat bonus. We have all of those thresholds and what they are listed over on newworldfans.com. We're not going to go through every single one of them in the video, but if you want to see exactly what they do, you can go check those out over there on this article that we're going through in this video. So you also can respec your attribute points. So if you think that you've messed up your build, or you just want to re-roll a build or change your character from a healer to a tank or more DPS and put more points into strength or dex or whatever, you can re-roll your attribute points for free early on in the game, and then later on down the road you have to pay a little bit of coin to do so. So Red, let's talk about weapon masteries now, man.
All right, dude. In New World, you can equip any weapon at any time. Your character is not locked to a specific weapon based on the class you pick. New World does not have a class-based system, as Bordy said before, and you can master every single weapon in the game if you choose. Once you have a weapon equipped, you then just need to go and use the weapon in combat in order to level it up. You can kill creatures to gain experience for that particular weapon's mastery. Once you have gained enough weapon mastery experience, you will then be rewarded with a skill point that can be spent an ability in the skill tree. Each weapon in the game has 2 separate skill trees, and each one of the skill trees has a selection of active abilities, passive modifiers, and bonuses that are exclusive to that weapon that can be spec'd into you as you progress down the skill tree. It's important to note that each weapon maxes out at level 20, and each weapon has a total of 19 abilities or nodes on each tree. There are 2 trees, so that totals 38 different passive and active abilities. This means that you cannot learn every skill on the weapon it has to offer, and you're going to have to make some choices for your build. You are not limited to going down one skill tree or the other. You can decide to put some skill points in each tree. The hatchet weapon mastery tree, for example, has two trees, the berserk and the throwing tree, and you can mix your points between those two. Each tree within a weapon mastery has 3 active abilities. You can equip 2 weapons and switch between those weapons in combat. This gives you a choice or a selection between 6 different active abilities within your build across the 2 weapons, your front and back bar. If you spec into something you don't like or want to change your build, similar to attributes, you will be able to respec for free initially early on in that mastery tree, but as you get towards the end, you'll have to respec using Azoth. This is a little bit different than attributes because you use gold for those. Each weapon in the game also scales off of different attributes. Some of those weapons scale off a single attribute, while others have a primary and a secondary attribute in which it scales upon. Listed below are the weapons and what attributes they scale on. Primary attributes listed first, and second attributes are listed second. It's important to note now 90% is the primary attribute, and then 60% of the damage scales off of the secondary attribute. So that is important to note when you're creating a build. Of course, if you have a primary attribute and it only has the one attribute it scales off, it's 100%. So here are the weapons. The one-handed weapons. Sword and shield scales off of strength as a primary attribute and dexterity as a secondary. Rapier scales off of dexterity as a primary and intellect as a secondary. Hatchet scales off of strength as a primary and dexterity as a secondary skill. So here are your two-handers. The spear is dexterity primarily and then strength. Great axe is strength alone, and warhammer is also strength alone. So you got your two single attribute weapons there in the two-hander category. Range, bow is just dexterity, and then musket has dexterity and a secondary of intellect. And here are your magic weapons. Fire staff is intellect. Life staff is purely focus, and then ice gauntlet is purely intellect. So your magic weapons don't have primary and secondary ability, but overall you can see where these attribute choices and your weapon choices are gonna equate to a lot of decisions you're gonna be making as a player and what build you want to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can always change that build if you so desire. You don't have to log it into an alt. You can just change it right there on your character. So
I love that.
Let's talk about, yeah, me too, man. I do as well. So let's talk about trade skills for a minute. So New World also has trade skills in the game, and they're made up of 3 different non-combat categories, which include gathering, refining, and crafting. There's several skills within each category, and the max level of any trade skill is 200, and you can max every one of them in the game if you so choose. So first, let's talk about gathering a little bit. So gathering is broken into 5 different skill lines, which include fishing, mining, skinning, logging, and harvesting. And in order to progress in those skills, you just have to go gather. So just use that particular skill. So if you want to be a better fisherman, just go fish a bunch. If you want to go, be a great miner, then just go find all the nodes and mine them, and you'll level up in them. So with refining, there are 5 different skill lines of the refining category, which are smelting, stone cutting, woodworking, tanning, and weaving. And smelters, of course, refine ore into ingots. Stone cutting is used to refine stone into blocks and cut gemstones into gems in order to socket them into gear. Stone cutting, I think, is also used for the newly introduced tuning orbs. And then you have woodworkers cut wood into lumber, and tanners refine hide into leather, and then weavers are going to turn your fiber into your usable cloth. So in order to level up each skill line in refining, you just need to refine those materials. So whether you gather them or buy them or whatever, doesn't matter. Just get some materials, go refine them, and you'll level up those skills as well. So as you level up in each particular skill, you're going to unlock the ability to refine higher quality resources, which are in turn used to craft higher quality gear. So you can also become a much more resource efficient, as higher level refiners have a chance to gain extra refined resources as they refine. So Red, let's talk about crafting a little bit, man.
All right, so there are 7 different crafting skills in New World, including weaponsmith, armoring, jewel crafting, engineering, arcana, cooking, and furnishing. Just like with crafting and just like with gathering and refining, the more you craft with a particular skill line, the higher you will progress within the particular skill line. So if you want to make the best weapons in the game, you will need to acquire materials and make weapons, obviously, at the applicable workstation in the settlement. Leveling a crafting skill will unlock more recipes that allow you to craft higher tier items. The tier of items range from tier 1 being the lowest and then tier 5 being the highest. It is important to note that in order to craft a specific tier item, the crafting station you are using must be at or above the tier level. You can learn more about leveling crafting stations by visiting our settlements guide. also by watching our Settle-ins video. So in a nutshell, the more you perform a specific task within specific skill lines, the further you will progress within that skill. It is also important to note that your character is not capped at how many skills you can master. So like me and Bordy were saying earlier, if you have enough time to invest, you can literally be the best at everything in New World, Bordy. And I think that's good, man. I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 right now, and I'm a big, kind of, have trouble making decisions or committing to something. And it's nice to know I don't have to always start over. I don't always have to start over on my character. You can just switch, man. And I like that New World provides that choice to players. If you get sick of using a weapon, you literally just equip a different weapon on that same character, and you always have your great axe progression, but now you can also level up sword and shield or whatever weapon you want to use.
Absolutely, man. I love the fact that New World is a classless system. It's one of the things that makes New World a little bit unique from a lot of the MMOs that's on the market right now. I love the fact that you can basically max out, or you can max out everything in the game. You don't need an alt. That's another thing that makes New World a little bit unique than other MMOs on the market. And I love it, man. I love being able to log in, work on whatever. That progression stays on that character, and then you can just move on to something else if you so choose, and you're not restricted to what you can do. I think it's awesome.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, let us know in the comments below. What do you think about the character progression in New World? Is there something lacking that you would like to see them at in the future? And guys, we're getting so close to the launch of the game. We are, when we're recording this video, the alpha just closed down, so that's pretty crazy. We are literally 2 weeks away from a closed beta, Bordy. So it's going to be nuts. Yeah. We're excited to be able to play with you guys. Join the Discord. Hit us up if you want to join the Revenant, our company. We're starting to get that together now too, because man, it's coming, Bordy, and I'm extremely excited about it.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Hit that subscription button if you haven't already, the notification bell for more New World content like this, and we'll see you in the next video.